Ohio State has gotten great, and I'm talking great news coming out of spring practice. Three main pieces of news that we're going to be talking about. There's a ton of energy there, a lot of excitement, and a whole lot happening that the Buckeyes and Buckeye fans should be super in favor of. We have three pieces of news we're going to get to in this episode. In spring practice so far, every report has come out, a ton of energy. Guys all over the place talking to players, a much older team. This is a team that looks a lot different from what they looked like last year. In fact, Ryan Day said they weren't even old enough last year. So they went out and got older. Okay, Ryan, you sent 12 guys to the NFL Combine. You're probably going to get your two linebackers drafted in the top 10, and you weren't old enough. All right, Ryan Day. I see your game here. For Ryan Day, it is never enough unless they win the national championship. Perfection is the game for him in the Buckeyes, and I love it. I love that he embraces all this stuff. He doesn't try to come out there like Kirby Smart and say, "Oh, well, we're a really tough conference." Ryan Day isn't making those excuses. All right, there's a reason why Ryan Day was on my list of better head coaches than Kirby Smart. Right now, Ryan Day, Kirk Cinetti. Those are the two. Those two don't make excuses. Kirby Smart does make excuses. Oh, our schedule's really tough. We're in the SEC. Be quiet. Ryan Day doesn't make excuses. He accepts the expectations and he tries to deliver. I love Ryan Day as a head coach. He does a phenomenal job. All right, three pieces of news to get to. Number 3 is going to be super juicy. I think you're going to like that one, a little bit of a morsel. And at the end, I'm going to win you some money with a FanDuel bet that you can definitely go win some money on, because I think FanDuel is sleeping on the Buckeyes a little bit, and I want to help you out, get you some of that stuff over there. Okay, let's see. Number 1, our first piece of news here. It involves Leroy Roker. That's right, Leroy Roker. Now, if you're not aware of who Leroy Roker is, it's just gentleman here, but this is also a recruiting picture of him. So this is a little bit of an outdated picture, but Cleveland.com wrote about him, and you've also kind of seen in some clips and stuff going on that Leroy Roker is making a big impact this year at spring practice. In fact, Ohio State brought in 2 big safety transfers. They had Terry Moore and Earl Little. Earl Little is running with the ones right now, doing a pretty good job. He's pretty versatile. He's a bigger guy than they might think, and they're actually thinking he might help kind of change this defense a little bit. Kind of change the defense a little bit, make some things different from what they were. Terry Moore, on the other hand, he's looking good too, but somebody is actually maybe looking a little bit better because he's actually running with the ones over Terry Moore, and that's Leroy Roker. Leroy Roker was the guy that I was telling everybody last year when Fahim Delane transferred out. I said, guys, be ready for Leroy Roker. He is going to be a dude. Of course, Fahim Delane, the star freshman this past year, he transfers out. Everybody panics. Oh, no, everything's terrible. It's not all terrible. You have Leroy Roker, who played a lot of snaps in that Miami game, and it wasn't because Fahim Delane said, oh, I'm going to the portal. He didn't jump in the portal the very first day. All right, that didn't happen. He stayed because he knows he's going to have a role on this team this year. Now, does this mean that he is going to start over Terry Moore? I don't think so. All right. I think Leroy Roker, he's coming in. He's more of the veteran in the group right now because of how long he's been around. And, I think he's only a sophomore or junior, one of those. I think he's a junior, actually. So he's not been around, like a senior or anything like that, but he is a guy with experience. He is a guy that's worked really hard. Heard he had a really good offseason in the weight room, did a phenomenal job. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets an Iron Buckeye, at some point in his career with how hard he's been working in the weight room. Love to hear that about him. And then you also heard some really good stuff about his versatility, being able to play all of the safety positions. And that's another rumor kind of coming out of camp right now. Is Matt Guerrieri the best safety coach in the nation? According to me, should be everybody else as well. But listen to me, Matt Guerrieri, the number 1 safety coach in the nation, Ohio State safety coach, he wants all of his safeties to be ready to kind of play every position. They don't really have anything locked in. It's like, okay, well, this is our new Caleb Downs. This is our new this is our new that. They kind of want to have it be very versatile, and that's a really good thing because it disguises your defense. Look, Caleb Downs is fantastic. Caleb Downs is amazing. He's going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, at the very least top 15. But one thing you couldn't do with Caleb Downs was disguise things as well, because he kind of had his role and that's what he played. Now, he did some other things as well. It wasn't like he was just in one spot, but with 3 safeties out there that are kind of unknown, especially to begin the season against a team like Texas, you're going to be able to disguise things even more. Imagine Arch Manning against even more, even more disguises and things like that. I think this is fantastic news for Ohio State, not just having 3 safeties most likely, but having 4 you can play. You can rotate around, put them in there for some different spots, do some different things. And who knows, like I said, Matt Guerrieri, best safety coach in the nation, you might just develop 1 or 2 more guys, and you might have a 5-6 man deep safety room at Ohio State. You kidding me? Yeah, Matt Patricia is going to have a whole lot of fun with this team this season, especially the defense. For those people who thought, oh, you lost so much on defense, the defense is going to take a step back. Folks, I hate to break it to you. It's not going to happen. This Ohio State defense is going to be really good again. I would predict top 5, top 3, maybe. It's a lot to predict them to be number 1 in the nation, but I would not be surprised at all if this Ohio State defense is a top 3 defense. I'll predict top 5. I don't want to go too overboard. Okay, I don't want to go too overboard. I'll predict top 5, but definitely could be a top 3 defense, especially with a development like this of Leroy Roker. All right, next piece of news here. Got the safety position. Actually, I guess you want to normally lead with the quarterback position, but you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about the quarterback position. All right, you had a really good article here. Pay no attention to that one down there. That's a members only, so we're not going to show anything there, nor do I plan to show anything. I haven't even read that article, but Ohio State's Julian Sayin has added weight and leadership skills for a critical 2026 season. Now, this season, it is imperative that Julian Sayin adds more weight and more leadership to who he is as a player. In addition to that, he also needs to do a better job of, obviously running, taking yards when they're there. That throwaway on 3rd and short in the red zone against Miami is still, still haunting me to this day. But Julian Sayin, he's going to be really good this year. I think you continue to see him progress physically. You're going to see him continue to progress as a leader, and it's going to be a really good season. Here was a quote from Julian Sayin that Letterman Rowe put out there. Said, I think I've just got to step up in the leadership role more, Sayin said. We have some returning guys on offense that have all kind of been trying to do that and, stepping up in the weight room and just throughout the facility, just trying to be more of a leader. And he's exactly right. He needs to step up in that leadership role. And with that kind of mentality, going to do that. I heard today at practice that he actually got up and gave a speech to the team, a very big speech talking about how everybody at camp needs to be a dog. They need to go out there, work hard. And so not only is he trying to be a leader, but Ryan Day is putting him in position to do that as well, which is also phenomenal for this team. Let's look at the physical development of Julian Sayin really fast. Now, okay, this is, I'm doing my best here, guys. I don't have like shirtless photos of the guy or anything like that, but I do have an interview. I do have an interview of him. I'll go ahead and mute it so that way you guys can hear me. But this was him 2 years ago. This was August 5th, I believe it was, or 2 years ago. This was last year in fall camp. So August 5th, fall camp. That's the Julian Sayin we all kind of knew. That's the Julian Sayin we all kind of saw. A little bit of a baby face, but still good, strong young man. Now, let's go ahead and fast forward to this year. What does he look like now? Did a press conference today. We saw him in a similar situation. Let's see what he looks like here. All right. Now, I mean, you be the judge to me. Looks much older, looks much more physically put together. If you ask me, the past one was a little bit harder to see, but you kind of like slouched over a little bit. It's kind of compressed together. Here, he's standing tall. He's speaking with his hands. I love it. I love it. It's not just the physical ability and things like that improving, but it's also his stature, how he's presenting himself, how he's talking to the media. He gave a whole lot more longer answers here. So you can go watch that. Ohio State put it on their YouTube channel there. Only 56 views. Probably should have some more views than that. I guess Ohio State has a lot of media that puts stuff out there. But overall, I mean, this Ohio State team is gonna need to really have some leadership from Julian Sayin. 51 new players on the roster. That's pretty big. Now, on offense, thankfully for Sayin, they don't have as many new guys. On offense, they have 8 returning starters, including Julian Sayin. The guys they left, Carnell Tate, who's going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. Tegra Shabola transfers to Kentucky. Okay, bit of a loss. Who am I kidding? It's a loss. I mean, the fans didn't even want him starting by the end of the season. Sure, that offensive line didn't look great against Miami, but I don't think very many offensive lines look great against Miami. There was a reason why quarterbacks were getting the ball out of their hand as quickly as they could against that defensive line. And then finally, Will Kazmarek, who, yes, I do think Will Kazmarek is going to be more of a loss than some people recognize for his blocking ability and stuff that he was able to do. But you bring in the other Ohio transfer. I believe his name is Mason Williams. I apologize if I'm getting that incorrect. I'm working off my memory here. I should have put it in my notes. I apologize. But he's coming in. Should be a good blocker as well, but obviously he's not just going to be Will Kazmarek right away. But I think they are excited about him. So we'll see how this works out. Like I said, that's our piece of Ohio State news number 2. Number 3, this one won't take as long. This was just kind of an interesting little bit. Bucknuts, it's the 24/7 Ohio State site. They put out something called the boarding house every day, and normally it's paid for, but here this one wasn't paid for, which is really nice. So here's a quote from one of their sources. All of this is like sourcing and quotes and stuff like that from sources they don't really have to put into an article, or you might see it in an article later on, but they just kind of put it on the website in this like a daily kind of article thing from the entire staff. It's a really cool idea, and they do a really good job with it. So if you're wanting something like that, kind of like daily rumors of going on in Ohio State, go check out Bucknuts. It's called the boarding house. Every single day they put one out there. Anyway, this news number 3 coming from the boarding house. This quote from one of their sources says, when Ryan Day was looking for an offensive coordinator, it was Matt Patricia who recommended Arthur Smith, the source said. Patricia had coached against Smith multiple times and had a lot of positive things to say about his schemes. Patricia also put Day in touch with Smith, which led to the hiring. All right. Well, we kind of thought that, Mike Vrabel might have put them onto this, right? He had coached with them at Tennessee. Maybe Will Howard had kind of helped with this a little bit because he was there at Pittsburgh with Arthur Smith. But it's a very interesting wrinkle saying, okay, Matt Patricia, he faced him. When did he face him? Well, I found the game where he faced him, and Matt Patricia was actually with the Patriots at the time. And it's a very interesting game that he would say that he liked his stuff, because this was a game when the Patriots shut out the Falcons. Falcons didn't score a single point. Now, I'm just gonna say right now, I don't think this is the best game for me to go off. But there must have been something really interesting that Arthur Smith did in this game. This was the only game where Matt Patricia on staff faced an Arthur Smith offense. Of course, Arthur Smith, head coach at the time rather than offensive coordinator, but 25-0, and Matt Patricia's saying, hey, yeah, I like this guy. He's a good offensive mind. I like his scheme. All right, well, maybe that says something about the Atlanta Falcons and the talent they had, that one of the best defensive coordinators, if not the best defensive coordinator in the nation, is saying, hey, this guy's actually pretty good. Even though he couldn't score a point on us, I actually like him, and I think he does a good job. All right, cool. Interesting stuff. I said I was going to win you some money. Let's go ahead and go on over to FanDuel here. You can check out FanDuel. You go over to win totals here. They actually have win totals for every single team out there. Well, I think every single team. I've just checked the Big Ten. I know they have at least every single Big Ten team out there. All right, look at this. Ohio State regular season win total 2026. 9.5. Folks, bet the over. Bet the over. FanDuel has Ohio State over under 9.5 wins next season. Now, look. It is certainly possible that Ohio State goes 9-3. They have a very difficult schedule. Ryan Day has never finished with less than 10 wins in a season other than 2020 at Ohio State. I think that was 2020. Yeah, because he only had 8 wins because he went 6-1 and 1 or 7-1. Yeah, he went 7-1. That's right. But free money here, folks. All right, go bet the over. Let me know what you think. I'm not a betting man myself, and I am not telling you that I guess I am kind of telling you should do this, but you get what I'm saying. All right. Bet the over here if you are a betting person, and obviously do so responsibly. Don't bet the house or anything like that. So